Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Gilbert Town Council meeting for April 16th, 2024. Just a reminder to please turn off or silence your cell phones and devices that you might have here in the chamber with you. I will call this meeting to order, and the first thing on our agenda is the invocation. I invite President Rich Kempton, Gilbert Santan Stake Presidency, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints down to the podium. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Turn the mic on. One of the buttons on the bottom there will turn the mic on for you. And you'll know it because it'll go red. Thank you. Thank you.
Our kind Father in heaven, we humbly bow with gratitude for the bounties of life, and especially at the beginning of this Gilbert Town Council meeting, to live in this beautiful place that we call home. We are grateful for the members of these communities. We are grateful for this place that has been a place of gathering, and we're grateful for the growth that we've experienced. We express gratitude for those who lead and for the civic duties that they've taken on. We pray that thou will bless them with thy choicest blessings, that they will know peace and prosperity and the happiness that comes from leading with integrity and with the sole mind of serving. We pray, Father, that thou will bless us as a people, that we might have greater patience with one another, that will show kindness and have acceptance for one another, that we might be able to know greater unity in this community, but also greater diversity, that we might come to a greater understanding that we do not have to compromise our convictions to be able to show compassion. We pray, Father, that thy blessings will be here as the affairs of this town are discussed this evening. And we say these things humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, President Kempton. We appreciate you joining us this evening. Next, we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Bongiovanni.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could please have Town Clerk Herrera conduct the roll call.
Mayor Bridget Peterson.
Present.
Vice Mayor Scott Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Chuck Bongiovanni.
Here.
Councilmember Bobby Buckley.
Here.
Councilmember Young Kaprowski.
Here.
Councilmember Kathy Tilkey.
Here.
And Councilmember Jim Torgerson.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you. Thank you, Chiavelli. Moving on to our presentations and proclamations. Our first proclamation this evening will be presented by Councilmember Bongiovanni to the Parks and Recreation staff. Parks team, please come down to join the council member at the front of the chamber. This proclamation is declaring April 26, 2024 as 2024 Arbor Day in Gilbert, Arizona. Hi, Kylie. Hi, Rocky.
Hey, folks. This is the 2024 Arbor Day in Gilbert, Arizona proclamation. It's pretty shady. Here we go.
You owe money.
Had to do it. Okay, whereas on April 10th in 1872, the first Arbor Day was celebrated in Nebraska City, Nebraska, with an estimated 1 million trees planted. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout 50 states and in the world, and will be observed in Arizona on April 26, 2024. And whereas communities across our great nation gather annually to celebrate trees and plant for a greener tomorrow. And whereas the trees are essential to our viable existence, as we know it, as they clean the air as we breathe and filter the water as we drink. Whereas trees, wherever they're planted, bring joy, spiritual renewal, and provide hope for the future. And now whereas I, Chuck Bongiovanni, on behalf of Bridget Peterson, Mayor of the Town of Gilbert, Arizona, do hereby proclaim April 26, 2024 as 2024 Arbor Day in Gilbert, Arizona. And I encourage the celebration of Arbor Day and its community support for all efforts that protects existing trees and woodlands, as well as those energies dedicated to planting of the trees to assist the well-being of this and future generation.
Our next proclamation will be presented by Vice Mayor Anderson to the Public Works staff. Jessica Marlowe and Eric Brown, if you could please join the Vice Mayor at the front of the chamber. Proclamation declaring April 22nd to the 26th, 2024 as Gilbert Water Professionals Appreciation Week. And any other Public Works staff? Oh, hi. Are you the only one here? Where's your friends?
Well, then you're going to accept it.
Well, you're perfect, but
Well, I really appreciate the words of that opening prayer, that this is a beautiful community, and you've made it a beautiful community. Thank you for being here tonight. A couple of weeks ago, when the last time we met, we recognized, there's Jessica. Come on down, Jessica. We recognized some businesses and communities in the town that were award winners for their water conservation, and we appreciate all those efforts. Tonight, we're going to recognize those who deliver water to the community and for the great things that they do. Where the special week is Gilbert Water Professionals Appreciation Week, which I think is the 22nd to the 26th. Whereas Gilbert has been a leader in sustainable management of groundwater resources as a 100% water reuse community, and has pioneered innovations such as water recharge and expanding the reuse of treated wastewater to replenish aquifers and improve local water supply reliability. And whereas Gilbert invests annually in water-related programs and projects that provide drinking water and sanitary services, protect public health and the environment, improve water supply reliability, and replenish and clean up its groundwater supply. And whereas protecting our water resources is essential to Gilbert's future and requires a well-trained workforce of water professionals. Whereas water, wastewater, and recycled water industry professionals in Arizona are dedicated to ensuring these water resources are safe and reliable for use and are well managed for future generations. Now, therefore, Bridget Peterson, Mayor of the Town of Gilbert, declares April 22nd through the 26th as Gilbert Water Professionals Appreciation Week. Thank you for all your efforts. And tell Lauren she was supposed to be here. I'll give that to you guys.
you want to speak?
You want to say anything, Jessica? You want to say anything? You want me to go over it?
I'll just say real quick that we have an amazing team that are extremely dedicated to making sure that we have safe, reliable drinking water every single day. And we're just very grateful for their dedication and perseverance through some challenging times. So thank you.
Next, the proclamation declaring April 21st through 27th, 2024 as National Infertility Awareness Week will be presented by Councilmember Tilke to Elizabeth Lee, who is a Gilbert resident and Vice President of Clinical Operations of Wellnest Fertility. Come on down, Elizabeth. This is Councilmember
Hi,
Tilke.
Elizabeth. Yeah, welcome. Whereas, according to the CDC, 1 in 7 couples have trouble getting pregnant or sustaining a pregnancy. And whereas the World Health Organization and American Medical Association define infertility as a disease. And whereas infertility affects women and men equally and does not discriminate based on race, religion, sexual orientation, marital status, or social economic level, and whereas all people challenged in their family building journey should have access to all family building options, such as in vitro fertilization and third-party reproduction, and whereas the cost and lack of insurance coverage are significant barriers for many in our state to access the family building option they need. And whereas raising awareness of infertility and the barriers faced by the family building community is the first step to removing these barriers. And now, therefore, I, Kathy Tilke, on behalf of Bridget Peterson, Mayor of the Town of Gilbert, do hereby proclaim April 21st through 27th, 2024 as National Infertility Awareness Week. Elizabeth, thank you. Do you want to say a few words?
Sure. Yeah, I've spent the last almost 10 years building accessible fertility care in Gilbert. Gilbert has really been a beacon of light to many other communities in terms of how we can create affordable access to care. And so now I'm on a mission to take that to other communities like Gilbert. And I just very much appreciate you offering this, because infertility is a disease. And it's such an intimate disease. And so everything we can do to create awareness and really give access to care from all the different levels is an amazing thing. So I really appreciate this very much. And so do all the fertility patients around the world.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We'll go ahead and get a photo.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And Elizabeth, I'm Kirsten, so I'll email you the pictures.
Elizabeth, thank you for bringing that to my attention. Whoa. Whoa. That was interesting. Our next proclamation is the proclamation declaring April 6th through 12th, 2024 as the Week of the Young Child. Councilmember Buckley will be presenting this to Beth Hawes with First Things First. Beth, if you could come down to the front, and if you have anyone you'd like to bring with you, please.
Thank you.
Did I say your name correctly, Beth? Beth Hawes? Oh, great, thank you.
You ladies ready? Whereas quality child care programs build children's lives, lifelong learning skills during the critical years from birth to age 5. And whereas every Arizona child deserves access to quality early care and education, ECE, environments, and whereas ECE teachers and child care providers are essential workforce that help Arizona parents get to work and school, and public policies supporting ECE aids families, communities, and the economy thrive. And whereas First Things First, Arizona Association of Education of Young Children and other community organizations in conjunction with National Association for the Education of Young Children are celebrating the 53rd anniversary of the Week of the Young Child. And whereas these organizations are working to improve equitable earning childhood opportunities that provide a strong start for children in Gilbert, and now, therefore, I, Councilmember Bobby Buckley, on behalf of Mayor Bridget Peterson, do hereby proclaim April 6th to the 12th, 2024, as the Week of the Young Child in Gilbert, Arizona, and encourage our community to support and invest in early child care and education in our community. Thank you all. Do you want to say something?
I guess I'm elected to say something. I would just like to say thank you to Mayor and Council for realizing the importance of early childhood education in the town of Gilbert and supporting all initiatives that support children being ready for kindergarten so that they can be successful in school and life.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have a proclamation declaring April 2024 as 2024 Bike Gilbert Month. Councilmember Kaprowski will present to Levi Labo with the Gilbert, did I say that correctly, Levi? I only ever call you just Levi. And the Straza family. Levi's with the Gilbert Police Department and the Straza family. If you could come down and join Councilmember Kaprowski at the front, please.
If we have someone else from the police department that would like to step down.
Yeah. Oh, Lorenzo's here. Sergeant Torreya. Correct? Torreya? Perfect.
Hi. We're going to step right over here. Whereas Gilbert's multi-use path system that connects to other Phoenix metropolitan regional pathways captivates bicyclists from all over the nation annually, and whereas the bicycle is a viable, low-cost, and fun form of transportation, and bicycle-friendly communities improve citizens' health, well-being, quality of life, and boost community spirit, while improving traffic flow, traffic safety, and reduce pollution and congestion. And whereas the League of American Bicyclists proclaims May as National Bike Month and Valley Metro proclaims April as Valley Bike Month. And whereas during the month of April, the joys of bicycling will be experienced by many through various community events, helmet and bike safety promotions, or by simply going for a ride. And whereas all road users are reminded to share the road safely. And now, therefore, I, Young Kaprowski, on behalf of Bridget Peterson, Mayor of the Town of Gilbert, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2024 as 2024 Bike Gilbert Month in Gilbert, Arizona, to encourage all who support bicycling to participate in events around the valley that support safe and enjoyable bicycling pursuits. I have special guests, Alexandria Straza and her dad Daniel here today, and they'll tell a little bit about why they're here, and then we'll be able to provide a few more updates as well.
Thank you. I'll make this short-winded, but I'm here with my daughter. It's her birthday today. She's 8. So
happy birthday.
Not to embarrass her or anything, but her life on January 15th was changed, but her life was saved also because she had a bike helmet on the day she was hit by a red light runner on Lindsay and Guadalupe just at the trail crossing. But it helped my wife and I realize that there's no mandate for kids under 18 to wear helmets on bikes, although we have a faster e-bikes and regular bicycles and 250,000 plus drivers on our roads, not counting drivers from other towns. But I want to thank the town council, mayor, and Councilmember Kaprowski, and Chuck Bongiovanni, who also see the value in protecting our children, partnering with Y2K and Dignity Health, who are helping organize a bike safety initiative here in Gilbert, along with our amazing local bike shops, Bike Masters, Free Ride Bicycles, Global Bikes, Pedigo Bikes, and In Control Driving School, for joining the partnership to be pickup locations for Bike Helmet Drive and help spread bike safety awareness throughout this beautiful town. And we will be doing drives through May, bike events, and helmet giveaways with our local bike shops to help promote bike safety in our town.
Thank you, Alexandria. I wanted to specifically tell you how proud I am of you, and I'm so impressed by your courage and resilience this year. Thank you for inspiring us all for the community initiatives for bike safety, and happy birthday. As Daniel mentioned, some of the initiatives that we've been able to do just in the past few months are purchase 500 helmets through a grant offered by Dignity Health and Y2K Engineering. We've, through the Gilbert Police Department, we really appreciate their support. In just the past 2 weekends, they've been able to distribute over 150 helmets. We've had 2 different coordination meetings with the Gilbert Public Schools with back-to-school initiatives planned this fall to enhance bike safety. And the Gilbert Public Works Department, in conjunction with the Gilbert Parks and Rec Foundation, have received funds through a private individual, and they've been able to implement green bike paint at 4 intersections just this past couple weeks. Gilbert and Guadalupe, Val Vista and Warner, Val Vista and Guadalupe, and Recurrent and Williamsfield. And upcoming, we also have a community bike ride planned for May 18th. So I just want to really appreciate our community for turning a tragedy into so much positivity. And thank you for being here tonight. I'll take that. Is that okay? So nice to see you. Nice to see you.
I can take both. So you don't have to worry about it.
Thank you. Do my script? Thank you. Oh, I forgot my glasses.
You're good. You want to
Okay.
Sorry, I need my glasses for this one. I'm at that point now that if the text is just a little too small, and I don't think anybody could hold it far enough away from me. This evening, we will be recognizing the Gilbert Volunteer MVPs for 2024. Gilbert has incredible volunteers serving across the community, from town departments, nonprofits, businesses, faith organizations, schools, and more. Volunteers come together day after day to make amazing things happen to support our community. These volunteers help exemplify our Gilbert values of driven, kind, humble, and bold. And we want to recognize them and their contributions to our town. Tonight, we will recognize the finalists and announce the award winners of our 2nd annual Gilbert Community Volunteer MVP program. The first value is bold, with our nominees being recognized for their motivation. I'm looking for the slides to change. Are the slides? There we go. I kept looking over, thinking that it was supposed to change. The first value is bold, with our nominees being recognized for their innovation, big ideas, and making a significant impact. And the finalists are Natalie Braun, she has served the children in foster care for a decade, first as a foster parent for 4 infant boys, and now as an educational advocate for kids. Please come on down and join me, Natalie. I should have said that, sorry. The first one's always the hardest. Next finalist is Trisha Johnson, who is a force for good in our community. 2.5 years ago, she started a branch of Gathering Humanity in Gilbert, but unfortunately, she can't join us tonight. Next is Sherry Lonker, organizes, collects, and donates holiday gifts to the foster youth in Gilbert. Come on down and join me. Would you like to do a group photo first, and then we'll announce the winner? Oh, we did. Oh, the other person's not here tonight. Sorry you missed that part. She's great, though. She does everything. She really does. her, I wouldn't be able to get through the day. Oh, Eric's taking a picture too. Oh, are you related to him? Yes. Oh, I didn't. Oh, Oscar. Oscar too. One more. Okay. I'm trying to hide my glasses and stuff behind your back. And the winner is Natalie Brown. Natalie volunteers for Advocacy 31-9. With volunteers like Natalie, this organization advocates for the educational success of students impacted by foster care, kinship care, and adoption in Arizona. Congratulations. And we'd like to do a photo. Stay over there, yeah. Let's take one photo together.
Sorry, council member. I'll get them to move in a minute.
Eric, do you want another photo? Proud husband. One more. Oh, yep.
Sorry, can I take one more photo?
Yeah. Thanks, Oscar. Thank you, congratulations. Yes, please, thank you. The next value is driven. These volunteers are recognized for taking on new challenges and devoting many hours of their time to service. I should have put this on my iPad. I like that better. I'm a techie girl, not a paper girl. Then I wouldn't have to wear my glasses either, folks. And the finalists are Louise Kircher. Louise, are you here with us? Come on down. Louise is passionate about HD South and always takes on new challenges and opportunities to help the organization and its guests. Casey Sticchetti, did I say that right? Stacy Sticchetti performs a wide variety of tasks. 1 minute he can be on a routine smoke detector service appointment, and the next he can be responding to a house fire or cardiac arrest. Next, Matthew Torrell. Matthew is a young student juggling the demands of full-time pre-med college courses and work while still dedicating time to volunteer. Thank you all for everything that you do for our community, and let's do one group photo. And then we'll announce the winner, okay? Oh, Oscar. Okay, drum roll. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. See? I wouldn't do that if I had my iPad either. Sorry. And the winner is Casey Sticchetti. You're welcome. Congratulations. Thank you. Casey, who volunteers with the Gilbert Fire Department as a community assistance volunteer, COM 251, time and time again, he has proven himself to be of service to the residents of Gilbert. Congratulations, Casey.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Let's get a photo. Let's keep taking these glasses off. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. They're always so formal in public safety. The next value is kind. These nominees exemplify serving the community with respect, kindness, and always a smile on their face. And the finalists are Pat Finch. Please come down and join me, Pat. If you're here. Yep. who exemplifies kindness not only with her words but her actions. She has been a dedicated volunteer for over 16 years with over 6,600 service hours in support of nursing staff and patients. I'm assuming you volunteer at Mercy Gilbert Medical Center because of your Dignity Health smock. Yes. Next finalist is Kelly Geisler. Kelly strives to help the folks in our community that are less fortunate. She believes all people deserve respect and a second chance. Kelly always volunteers with a big smile and a fun sense of humor. I can attest to that, Kelly. You always have a smile on your face. Next finalist, Leanne Selly. Leanne seems to have a big cheering section. She shows kindness and a welcoming spirit every day. Through her actions and words, she demonstrates how important she believes all people are, whether that be volunteers that walk through the door or clients to be served. One photo, ladies. Come on over here. We'll split up a little. Let's go. Don't go too far. And the winner is Kelly Geisler. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you and congratulations. Kelly Geisler, who founded Cultivate Goodness and is a bridge that helps many nonprofits in the community find needed support from volunteers and items needed for the organization. Kelly is the living embodiment of kindness. I'm going to tell a personal story about Kelly, and I'm going to try not to cry. Kelly and her associate, and I can't remember her name, I apologize, Carrie, showed up here at Town Hall with a gift for me one day, and I was having an incredibly difficult day. And these two wonderful women handed me this gift, and I burst into tears. It was the right moment for somebody just to come into my life and offer me a little kindness. So I thank you for that, and always being sunshine in people's day. Please stand over here, Kelly. Oh, Kelly, I need a picture with you. I got telling my personal story and forgot. They'll be on social media. Or Melanie can send them to you. Congratulations. Next, our next value is humble. These nominees have the heart of service and make strong contributions to the organizations they serve. And the finalists are Emily Jones. Emily, are you here? Emily embraces substance-exposed babies and their caregivers with compassionate, evidence-based care that positively changes the course of their entire lives. Congratulations. Next is Judy Slack. Judy has humbly put in numerous hours since the inception of Gilbert Fire Department's Community Assistance Program and has helped make it a success. Congratulations, Judy. Next is Debbie Trenery. Debbie approaches everything with a humble heart and pure intentions and is always there when needed to help out one small step. One photo for us, ladies, with a group. swear I don't blink sometimes. I can't even tell you. And the winner is Debbie Trenery. Congratulations and thank you. Congratulations and thank you. Debbie has volunteered for the past 9 years with One Small Step. You have an event coming up soon, next week? Helping at the Friends Resale Boutique and assisting with the fundraisers. Her energetic attitude always makes others want to do more, and her helpful nature kicks in when extra work needs to be done. Congratulations. Stay right here. We're going to do a photo. Thank you. I have moved across this whole floor. Next, we would also like to take a brief moment to recognize Gail Lowen. She was nominated and also selected for a KIND Award. Although Gail is no longer with us, she leaves behind a legacy of many, many people in her life who she selflessly worked to help during her time here on Earth. Gail was an active volunteer at One Small Step since 2015. She showed up faithfully every Monday and carried out many different activities to help families in need, and especially children. Gail's husband, Hal, is here today to accept an award on her behalf posthumously. I didn't know tonight would be so emotional. This next award is to recognize a group that gives back through service, contributions, and more as they make a difference in the Gilbert community. And the finalists are Life Community Church, and my friend Jamie Johnson. Life Community has a reputation of giving either by donations, support to the community, monetary donations, or donating their facility as needed. Hi, Jamie. Hi. Next group is the Mercy Gilbert Volunteer Program. Come on down, folks. All of you wearing your purple and knot that's here to represent Mercy Gilbert, come on down. Each of these volunteers have a direct impact on the valuable work done at the hospital. Their kindness is palpable. Their presence is valued. Oh, and they have a doggy volunteer. And they are truly the heartbeat of the hospital. Congratulations, Mercy Gilbert Volunteer Program. Hospital volunteers are amazing. The next group is SNAP, Special Needs Activity Program. If you're here with SNAP and you'd like to come on down and join us, Jane, are you going to bring Maddie down? Oh, okay. This group is totally selfless in their dedication to serve this underserved segment of the community. They provide hundreds of volunteer hours each week to come up with and carry out creative and valuable activities. Do we want to try and get a group photo with all this whole big group? Good luck, Kirsten. And the winner is Mercy Gilbert Volunteer Program. Congratulations to the other programs. Thank you for all you do in our community. And these ladies just told me that I'm wearing their color and I should report for duty tomorrow. I'm a little busy. Scooch this way. I worked for a volunteer services department for 7 years, so I very much appreciate hospital volunteers. And our final award category of the night is Youth Volunteer. These nominees are definitely represent the dedicated, positive, and hardworking youth in Gilbert. And the finalists are Rafael Ramirez. Hi, Raphael. How are you? I think Kirsten has something for you. Raphael is kind, committed, and a tireless young man who has a passion to serve the most vulnerable. Evan Vowles. Evan? Did I say your last name right? Vowles. Yes. Just like vowels, just A-E-I-O-U. Yes, vowels. Exactly. Evan Vowles. Evan is an amazing young man. He is wise beyond his years and is continually looking for opportunities to serve. And we have to get a photo. Kirsten, we have to get a photo. Because we only have, I think I only have 2. Yes.
You guys mind being in the photo, or do you want to move?
No, we don't want to get...
I just like to ask. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You're good.
And Oscar will take one. That way. There we go. Mom? Yeah. Okay. All right, and I'm going to announce the winner. And the winner is Evan Vowles. Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, done. You have a big cheering group, too. Yeah. Evan brought toys he collected from his birthday party to refugee children. He organized a successful jelly drive. I saw that online. I saw it on social media. Yep, successful jelly drive for Open Arms in Gilbert, which is one of our we only have a couple of food banks, and you took care of them. Raised donations and funds to create homeless kits that he gave to the Gilbert Police Department and a local foundation in Gilbert. And he had other children help make Valentines to hand out to seniors in an assisted living facility here in Gilbert. Well, we can't wait to see what you do next, Evan.
Thank you.
You have a very large heart. Congratulations for being such a great young man.
Thank you.
And now we're going to do a big group photo, okay? Okay. With everybody.
Okay, everyone, moving on to the next portion of our agenda. We have communications from citizens. I will pass it to you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. The Gilbert Town Council values citizen comments and input. Anyone wishing to speak before the council must fill out a request to speak card for each item they wish to speak on and submit it to the town clerk or place it in the bin provided prior to the start of the meeting. The communications from citizens portion on the agenda provides citizens an opportunity to identify for the town council matters of interest or concern related to town government. Under the provisions of the Arizona Open Meeting Law, the town council is prohibited from responding to issues that have not been properly noticed. Therefore, the town council may only listen to citizens who wish to address them, and at the conclusion of the open call to public, response is limited to individual members of the council responding to criticism made by those who have addressed the public body, asking staff to review a matter, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda item. While we understand and appreciate the passion our community members bring to these sessions, we must remind everyone that clapping during the meeting is not acceptable. This practice can disrupt the flow of discussion, potentially intimidate others, and detract from the respectful atmosphere we strive to maintain. The town asks that when your name is called, you come forward to the podium, state your name and place of residence, and then begin speaking. You'll have 3 minutes. Our first speaker tonight is Deborah Starita. Deborah will be followed by Don Edwards.
Deborah, just pull that mic up and then push one of the buttons on the bottom and it'll light. There you go. Perfect.
There you go.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Deborah Starita. I live in Gilbert. I am a recent resident of Gilbert, growing up all through the East Valley, but never living in Gilbert. So I have a home that backs up to Williamsfield, and there's a train. So I talked to a realtor, and she had told me that this has been visited before with the town council. But I called the town of Gilbert about a month after I moved into this area because my back wall is on Williamsfield. So I had to remove pictures off my back of my house inside because they vibrated so bad when the train went through it 2 in the morning. So I called the town of Gilbert. They said I needed to call Union Pacific, which I did call Union Pacific, and Union Pacific said all I had to do was attend a council meeting and say that you guys can request quiet hours, and I don't know what the quiet hours are, but the horns are only allowed to blow in case there's an emergency. So that was something that I don't know if anybody's ever presented that to you, but we've got some really egotistical engineers that sometimes stay on those horns a lot longer than they need to, and then you have the nice ones that just hit it when they need to going through the intersection. But 2 or 3, 4 in the morning, my dogs got used to it in about a week. I'm 3 months in, and I'm still not used to it. So I don't know if there's something we can go forward with, but that is what Union Pacific did say to me, that there's something called quiet hours that you guys can put forward. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Don Edwards. Don will be followed by Steve Lavelle.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, and esteemed council members. My name's Don Edwards. I live in Chandler, but I recently retired from your fire department after I was retaliated against for filing a complaint. Tonight, I would like to talk about character and the lack of it at the top of the fire department. One of the top 3 are here right now. He's pretty bad. I was written up after I misheard a direction over a cell phone in a noisy apparatus bay, so I made a mistake. 2 days later, as soon as I was informed when I was sitting at home because I was off for my 4 days, not by my supervisor, but by somebody else, because that person, Battalion Chief Jeff Stevens, decided that he was going to talk about me to other people instead of coming to me directly. Apparently, while at training with my engineer, BC Stevens told him he was upset with what I had done. My engineer called me to let me know, and as I stated before, I immediately called BC Stevens. We talked about what happened. I took full accountability and assured him that it would never happen again. During that conversation, BC Stevens confessed that he was taken aback because, as he said, that's not who I am. Never have been, never will be. After about a 20-minute conversation, BC Stevens said he was glad I called and that we could move on. Unfortunately, a full month later, I was called and told by BC Stevens that he, quote, had to write me up, probably from this guy. As if that wasn't bad enough, he wrote in the paperwork that I purposely disregarded an order which he knew was a lie. This is where character comes in. In my career as a captain, I've been told to write up employees before. There were times when I disagreed with that decision, and I told my BC that I preferred to handle it differently. Character counts is something that's plastered on every school wall in this town. I know, because I run calls in all of them. It's a shame that the men at the top of the fire department haven't learned the lessons of a third grader. It was bad enough that it was a full month later, even though I had seen him multiple times in the interim, but the fact that he straight up lied in the paperwork shows that there is no integrity in the leadership, there is no leadership, in the management of the fire department. This is just another example of the current culture of your fire department. If you're not a full-blown rah-rah cheerleader for everything that comes from admin, they will find a way to get you. There are multiple people right now going through what I went through. My plan is to continue to shed light on the management of the fire department, and I hope some of you will take the time to actually talk to the dedicated men and women that are still serving to keep this community safe, to get more information than I could give you in 3-minute bursts. Thank you. See you in 2 weeks. 3 minutes.
Thank you. Steve Lavelle. Steve will be followed by Dan Reynolds.
In regards to the study session 2 weeks ago, the biggest disappointment was that only one council member asked any questions of Patrick as to why the ODG pushed a far left-wing narrative by using the town's social media sites and personnel. Thank you, Councilmember Torgerson. Patrick brought up benchmark cities in regards to the volumes of social media engagements and their respective populations. However, when providing a comparison view of FTEs and their budgets, he only used 2 benchmark cities and 4 cities that were not benchmark cities. There could be a simple explanation. However, none of you asked why he used different cities for different statistics. To say that I was disappointed from the lack of questioning would be an understatement. Councilmember Kaprowski, you stated that you like the direction of the ODG team. So are you anti-First Amendment? Are you pro-Marxist, pro-BLM, pro-CRT, pro-DE&I? In at least 2 cities this past week, I have seen people in our country chanting death to America. Do you support that ideology? Let me remind you of your ODG mission statement: to provide accurate and engaging information to promote Gilbert safety and overall community pride. Councilmember Anderson reads preamble in every meeting about decorum and misinformation. Councilmember Anderson, I didn't hear you ask one question regarding the misinformation that ODG pushed out regarding the clot shot that doesn't vaccinate, the masks that don't and didn't work, and the social distancing lies. Of course, everyone would say, we didn't know, it was in the middle of a pandemic. However, the people who were trying to speak the truth were attacked by ODG, and the internal communication proves it. Statements like, he's posting that he won't wear a mask, and he's pushing vaccine misinformation or mask information. Yet not one question was asked of Patrick regarding the misinformation pushed by this local government and under the disguise of public safety, while the town took millions of COVID funds to push the narrative. I know firsthand because I sat down in a meeting and I tried to discuss some facts about the mask and the size of the variant. I was told we were going to follow the CDC. Zero apologies, zero accountability, just sweep it under the rug and talk about engagement numbers from 2023. So, Mayor, if this information is just perception and you think some people need to get over it, like you stated 2 weeks ago, then I would ask both you and Patrick, why did Dana Birchman resign? Patrick mentioned in his presentation that the town had 37 million engagements in 2023, and a third of the population of Gilbert is under the age of 18. Why didn't any of you ask him why the ODG team wasn't involved in the teen violence response, or lack thereof? Why didn't Patrick Lee and Chief Solberg use this outstanding town asset to protect the most valuable assets in our society, our children? All it does, after all, say safety in their mission statement. As a matter of fact, I heard the advice from ODG was to not post anything. I don't know if this is true, but there's only one council member, I think, that will dig into it. I have so much more, but I'll finish with this tonight. Councilmember Torgerson, my father told me to trust your gut. Trust yours, keep digging. Councilmember Anderson, as I mentioned, you speak of decorum. Was the mayor's comments about panties the decorum you speak of? Mayor, nice example. And you are correct. Many employees will tag the town because they are not trying to hide anything. I know of police officers that were pulled off their patrols by their sergeants during the ODG rebanding and told that they can post their opinions but do not tag the town. Mayor, I know you say you're a big supporter of the Second Amendment, but your actions and your words don't support the First Amendment, which is first for a reason. Mayor, we had breakfast back in December 2020 while you were being attacked, and I told you it was going to be worse than you could anticipate, and it was going to take strong leadership and accountability to right the ship. Mayor, I did support you. For that, I am sorry because I was wrong about you. Please do us all a favor. Pull your big girl panties up and resign immediately. As for the rest of you, I have exposed multiple leadership problems over the past 5 council meetings, and the inaction of this council speaks volumes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Dan Reynolds. Dan will be followed by Ann Doucette.
Chris, can I make just a quick, so it doesn't get too off the rails?
Councilmember Torgerson, any comments need to wait till the end of?
Because something's out of context.
You can respond to criticism, but you have to wait till after all the comments are done. That's state law.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name's Dan Reynolds. I am a 25-year employee here and retired. I've been living in the town for over 37 years. Sorry about the redundancy, but in the previous meetings, I've told you about why Josh Reynolds was asked to resign or be fired. So I'm a voice for Josh Reynolds again because we have an injunction still on behalf of your fire chief and your Rob Duggan and your HR director, Nathan Williams. So I've given you 2 of the 3 reasons why Josh was basically forced to resign. Blue line flag on the truck and a video with the other firefighter. And by the way, that other firefighter was never disciplined, and he shouldn't have been because Josh shouldn't have been either because they were both in agreement of it. So he was told to if he didn't resign, he had a choice, either be fired or resigned. And then after that, he was said, if you do choose to resign, then you're going to sign a piece of paper here saying you won't sue the town, which I'm not sure I understand why somebody would do that. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So tonight, I'm going to share the last reason, and that one was Josh taking a picture of his arm around a cardboard cutout of President Trump. And that was in 2018, so he was not running for office. He was already the sitting president. So from a political standpoint, there was no candidates, there was no running, there was none of that. So there was nothing that he did wrong about that. In the background, it showed a fire truck, but there was no identifying that showed where it came from. Doesn't know that it was from the city of Gilbert or the town of Gilbert. His uniform is in such a way that it did not show him any identifying that it was the town of Gilbert Fire Department. I always thought that was ironic because the person who's no longer here from the social media blatantly showed things from her office that showed her place of employment and her position, and was never disciplined for that. Town of Gilbert ODG asked for these people to send in, tag them and post them on this particular thing. It happened to be National Selfie Day. So Josh did that with that cardboard cutout of President Trump, but they didn't post his. And so he called and asked and said, how come you didn't post it? And when he was told by one of the employees that probably doesn't need to be named, was that that Josh, you're too controversial, is the response. So at some point he got in trouble for this, and your current fire chief, Rob Duggan, who was the assistant fire chief at the time, asked his supervisor to discipline him. But he couldn't tell him why, because he really didn't have anything that he could tell him that he had breached any kind of policy. It just kind of tells a story that Josh was targeted the whole time for probably close to 5 years by the ODG and other people. So I know it's not super exciting, but those are the 3 reasons why he's no longer an employee with the town. So I appreciate you're giving me the time to express this. And again, let your conscience be your guide. And remember that the only voice you can't stop hearing is your conscience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. Ann Doucette, and Ann will be followed by Charisma Arnold.
Hi, my name's Ann Doucette. I've been in Gilbert for 26 years. This evening, I'd like to address a few pressing issues that concern the fabric of the community in Gilbert. First is the essence of the invocation within our Chamber of Commerce meetings. The Chamber is indeed meant to be a reflection of our diverse community of various faith and denominations. However, it's been very clear that certain denominations seem to have a predominant presence during the invocation. Per the City Council meeting agenda, it states the invocation may be offered by a person of any religion, faith, belief, or non-belief, as well as council members. This raises questions about why there isn't a diverse representation and whether the other churches in Gilbert are aware of these meetings. This community is represented by many faiths, including the Christian faith. It's imperative that we ensure equal representation and foster an environment where our entire community is represented. The other issue that needs to be addressed is the timely process of investigating incidents and crimes within our city. Recent events, such as the appalling act of 2 teens throwing a fire extinguisher off the Gilbert garage, highlight the importance of swift communication and action. Citizens have continued to voice their concerns about the lack of monitoring at the Gilbert garage. This incident is a reminder of the consequences of delayed response. We must address why it took 14 months for this incident to come to light, and why such delays continue to persist. Then, just this Saturday, there was a teen walking on the ledge of the Gilbert garage like a tightrope, then throwing something off the ledge. Where are the police? The Gilbert garage cameras did not catch that one as the citizens recorded it. The teen is very lucky to be alive. Citizens continue to bring these issues to the attention of the City Council and police, yet what is done about it? Also, this past Saturday, makes sense to be at the garage on the Saturday, there were many teens in the Gilbert garage as it was like a frat party. Why is the Gilbert garage not being monitored? Oh yeah, the camera wires were cut. Are the cameras being replaced? Are they being worked on? What is going on in that garage? I have a fear, once again, that a teen will have to get hurt for any action to take place. Please, don't let that happen. Let us strive to be a chamber and a community that truly represents the diversity of Gilbert and a community where incidents are reported swiftly and addressed. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you. Carissa, she will be followed by Chris Brennan.
Hi, I just wanted to share a scenario with you that I got to share at the Teen Violence Committee, and just to bring a little bit of an understanding as you guys get ready to discuss things on teen violence tonight. I wanted you to put yourselves in the shoes of a 17-year-old girl who has just been told, she starts dating a guy, and she's just been told she is the most incredible thing to him. He pumps her up, he gets her going, and it gets her to a place of really believing that she is everything in his eyes. And then he turns around and he flips on her and then starts telling her she's the worst person, that she's responsible for his drive. She is at fault for everything that is going wrong in his life. He starts to assault her, he emotionally abuses her and everything. She finally gets the courage to come and tell her parents what has happened, or tell her mom what has happened. And a phone call is made to the police dispatcher, and then they contact an officer, and then it goes to sex crimes. And then from there, you go and you sit in the office, and as a parent, you're told that you have to wait in the lobby while your child walks into a room with an officer that you don't know. And as a parent, you're sitting there, and everything on your mind is, terror that your child is going to get hurt all over again. And not because that officer has done anything to present it that way, but because your child has just been hurt, and that's the one thing that's on your mind. On the other side of it, your child is sitting there, and the only thing that's on their mind is, I want my mom right here with me. That was the scenario that played out for us. And even though the officer was very kind, and I fully believe that he respected my daughter, the one thing coming into this as we look into and talk about teen violence and advocates, and especially pertaining to sexual assaults, is that when you are a victim of a sexual assault or abuse, it is really difficult to keep your mind focused in an interview. And I know that officers have ways of interviewing and things like that, but no matter what, if your mind is in another place, you're not going to be able to think and communicate clearly the ways that you need to communicate. And so my plea is that there's a way to bring in, I know advocates are going to come hopefully with the center, that there's advocates in the aftermath of the interview. But as a teen girl and as a parent, going into an interview with an officer and not knowing what's going on, what's going to happen, my plea is to have those advocates to start coming in now to have explanations to these girls so that they can have a more relaxed interview with an officer and even have a female in the room with them as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Carissa. Chris?
Good evening. Over the last few months, we've seen changes within our community around teen violence. We've seen the arrest of various individuals in relation to the brutal murder of Preston Lord. We've seen the creation of the Teen Violence Subcommittee, and we have seen some members of our community come forward with their stories of teen violence. As the community moves forward, it is clear that more needs to be done and that leadership needs to step up so that our community can heal. From our police, we need to see the classification of these violent groups as gangs. We know this is being worked on. We know that this takes time, and we understand that. But expediency is needed. We need to accept that Gilbert has a gang problem. Classifying the Gilbert Goons and other groups as gangs with MCAO agreement, it will bring resources and funding. This will help Gilbert Police and surrounding police departments in their fight to eliminate these gangs. It will bring harsher sentences to discourage more from forming, and it will show the community that action is underway by Gilbert Police. Second, the Teen Violence Subcommittee is due to make recommendations, and those recommendations should be actioned on with haste. Please do not delay in implementing any of their recommendations. Should you delay, this will only serve to show Gilbert is not serious about trying to resolve the teen violence within our community. Lastly, I will ask again that Gilbert's leadership step up and proactively work to make our town and schools safer. The stories that continue to come from our teens show there is a fear of violence and organized bullying, both at school and within our community. The stories and evidence of violence is overwhelming, and yet it has been almost 6 months since the death of Preston Lord, and Gilbert has yet to make any changes. Your actions, decision, and leadership will make our community a better place to live, and I urge you to take swift action to ensure this becomes a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Is Dorlise, is she gone? She's gone, okay. That concludes the communications, Mayor. If I could give one comment? Sure. Just direction to Patrick, could you direct whoever needs to look into the train whistle? Sounds like that's being bandied back and forth, and maybe we can respond to that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Torgerson?
And just, for context purposes, the mayor had said for me to put my big girl panties on during a study session 2 weeks ago. But it was actually, her comment truly did refer to something that I had said 2 weeks before that. So I don't believe it was in a mean spirit. I think she was tapping into the fact that I said I would put my big girl panties on and deal with somebody that was a problem. And so I don't want it to be out of context that I can accept that this was done with a sense of humor. And I would hope that anybody else could see this, would accept that I see that. Let's have a laugh, because if we can lighten this up a little bit, it's going to make things work better. And she was playing off something I said. I didn't recognize it even at the moment, because I was like trying to move something forward, and it was based off something I had said 2 weeks before that. So I wanted to make that clear. I don't believe it was meant, sir, and I understand and I appreciate it, but I truly believe she was working off my sense of humor. And I am wearing my big girl panties, though, so you know. Well, I'm sorry you can't unsee that. Oh, I see what you're saying.
We can't, Councilmember, we can't go back and forth.
Okay, thank you, though.
Sorry. Anyone else like to make a comment? Vice Mayor asked to follow up on the trains, and Kirsten, if you could check with the resident that spoke this evening about the train and get her information, because then we could reach back right out directly to her, since we can't respond to her. And as far as the comments that we keep having over and over and over again about the Office of Digital Government, I learned something a few weeks ago that somebody left this meeting and went out to the lobby and wrote the make and model of one of our employees' cars on the blackboard out in the lobby. And to me, that's not acceptable. As an employee, they should not have to be exposed to something like that. Yes, they choose these positions here in the town of Gilbert. We choose to run for office here in the town of Gilbert and expect the abuse that we constantly get. The employees do not deserve that. And if I hear of something like that again, I will for darn sure make sure we find out on camera who did that, and I will take action, whatever that needs to be, because that is completely unacceptable in this building. You want respect and you want to be heard for the issues that you claim that you've had over the past few years. You are showing absolutely no respect to any of us or to anyone that works in this building. And I am just really, really disappointed with that out of some of you. And that's all I'll say. Moving on, Chief Solberg, if I could have you come down to make a comment now that we're done with public comment, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mike Solberg, Chief of Police with Gilbert Police Department. Thank you to everyone who is here tonight and for those who continue to participate in our efforts to end teen violence within our communities. As a result of the tragic death of Preston Lord in Queen Creek, there has been an increased awareness about the issue of teen violence. Preston's death has had a profound impact on so many in our respective communities, and we have seen that incidents of teen violence have affected the entire valley and our country as a whole. Tonight, the Council Subcommittee on Teen Violence will provide us with updates and their recommendations to the Town Council. These recommendations would not have been possible had it not been for the community's passion and participation in finding effective solutions. These are the type of efforts that need to continue within our community and to successfully bring an end to teen violence. This is an important next step in combating teen violence, but there's a lot more work for all of us to do. Any truly meaningful long-term solutions will need to be based on continued partnerships and collaboration between law enforcement and our many community leaders and stakeholders. The Gilbert Police Department is committed to working with parents, our schools, our nonprofits, and with council to continuously build and strengthen our partnerships to support our youth. Regarding our ongoing investigation into the Gilbert Goons, because it is an active investigation, I'm unable to say anything further at this time, other than we have made significant progress, and I anticipate the investigation concluding very soon. Before I wrap up, I want to assure the community that the Gilbert Police Department remains steadfast in our dedication to thoroughly investigating all of our cases and bringing justice to anyone who has committed a crime here in Gilbert. Most important of all, I want to thank everyone here and everyone in our community, along with our council leadership who have worked tirelessly to find solutions to address the issues of teen violence. Thank you for your participation, and thank you for our future efforts to combat teen violence. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate your comments. Moving on to the consent calendar, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I haven't received any requests to pull an item. Seeing none. With that, I will move that we approve items 7, 8, 9, 10,
Do you want me to
11.
save you a second? You can say the entire consent agenda as presented.
Well, there's one.
Oh, do we have to
item-
make a change to one of them?
Item
Thank you.
18A will refer to the changes that are in our addendum.
And I was trying to
And
save you
I'll
time,
just
sorry.
identify that, as well as the rest of the consent calendar.
Thank
I'll
you.
make that motion.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor, seconded by Councilmember Tilkey. Please vote. Sorry, I was waiting for the screen to come up. Motion passes 7-0. Council, would you like to move up the discussion on the Teen Violence Subcommittee to before the other items? We can move just that one administrative item up if you would like to. No, they don't typically. Yeah. Is there anyone here for a liquor license? Raise a hand. Okay, there is one person. Sure. Thank you for that. Okay, open the public hearing. We have just a few items on our public hearing agenda. Does anyone wish for a separate presentation on any of those items? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and I'll just make the motion, move to approve items 22, 23, 24, and 25. I have a second by Councilmember Buckley. Please vote. Motion passes 7-0. Your liquor license is done, ma'am. Moving on to administrative items, we will, let's move to let's move the council subcommittee on teen violence to the first item. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. We did take the time, I think it was last week, yeah, it was last week. Sat down for a couple of hours and took all of the items that we've received from the public as they participated in our subcommittee meetings. We tried to compile all those recommendations and come up with something that we could send on to the council that kind of encapsulated what was being asked for by the public as far as recommendations. And that's what you see, the things that we've broken out into 3 general areas. The first area being existing actions that are going on right now, which is adding a police officer for community youth engagement in the fiscal year 25 budget, and also approving all 3 phases of the Family Advocacy Center, which will be important in the CIP. Those are 2 items that are ongoing now that have actually begun. Now, the things that we had recommended that we look at into the future, I think that we felt as though the most important thing that we should consider is working together with the school district. We have liaisons to each of the districts. There are only 3 districts, and there's 7 of us. We thought that we might even recommend that if we can go to some of the charter schools, we might want to do that also. But we want to see what we've done in the past where we've met periodically with the superintendent to go over issues that may affect the town and the school district. Those discussions were fairly shallow, I think, for the most part. We'd like to get to be something that's more regular, something that we can involve more people in. It was just normally the council liaison and the superintendent, and it makes sense to expand that, whether it's involving the administration, the principals of the high schools, parents, the SROs, others that should be involved in meetings on a regular basis with the school district, so the town and the school district can address these issues that are now coming up. Councilmember Bongiovanni had a 10-point plan that was recommended, I believe, by one of the citizens that is included in your packet, that we felt was very appropriate to be considered as part of this recommendation. But everything kind of pivots on working together better with the school districts. That seemed to be a recurring theme, that we needed to address that. The last general category, the three categories, were potential ordinances in the future. One being looking at other communities' ordinances that are already in place for banning brass knuckles for juveniles, and also ordinances that may define parental responsibilities and how we treat that in the community. These are all recommendations that we've prepared to forward on to the Community Engagement Task Force. And we're kind of passing the baton now so that we can take further action and get the task force involved in that. And Councilmember Tilke has got some recommendations on the task force and the process of passing this on to the task force. And I'd like her to address that. But before we get to that, I'd like to hear from Councilmembers Bongiovanni and Torgerson to see if they have anything to add to what I just summarized.
Councilmember Bongiovanni.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much to add to Vice Mayor's recommendations. I just, again, want to reiterate how proud I am of the community, what we've been through the last couple of months, and how much everyone came to the plate. And I hope that we can continue with that open communication and expand it even more to other people to get involved in this. Now's the opportunity for us to get involved, work with the Community Engagement Task Force, and actually set out and do some of these things that took us a while to get input from everyone, so we can agree on some things that we think that we can work on. And it's been great to see the community get together. I mean, it's sad over the topic that we had to get together on, but I see people, in the audience today that didn't know each other, prior to Preston's death, and many of them are now friends and working together for one thing, and working for the youth in Gilbert. And I feel very confident handing this off to Councilmember Tilke and the task force. And hopefully many of you can be participating in that also, and just continue with the hard work that you've been doing.
Councilmember Torgerson.
To reiterate some of what Chuck said there, one of the things that sometimes it's misconstrued, people are looking, saying, well, why is it the police are asking for help? And the beautiful part of it is that the community is involved. Out of tragedy has come something good, is that people are paying attention. When something's hard to define, people are chiming in. And part of the problem that existed as this started was the lack of feeling they could be involved, whether it be a victim or the victim's family. And people are speaking and being involved. And hopefully there's more creative ways where people are involved in this solution as it moves forward. And there is no 100% solution for anything in life, but to see that people are engaged and care and spend a lot of their time, people that never met Preston, people that never had a victim that was related to them, and they cared enough to volunteer their time and their expertise and their soul. And to see this moving forward, it's it's nice to see that our community does exist. At 288,000 people or wherever we are today, there is still community there and people do care. And I'm very happy to have participated in this, and really to me, Chuck carried the water most heavily, and as well as Scott. And I was proud to be associated with the process more than anything, and to see people that love their community and do something about it. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Councilmember Tilke?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start by thanking the three gentlemen who served on this subcommittee and all the work and the time that you've put into this, and all of the community's input, and just ditto to everything that you all have said. We received the recommendations yesterday, those of us who didn't serve on the committee, and so I just took today to try to put together more of a format of how we're going to be able to transition this, and to try to make it very clear to the community how that's going to happen. So I haven't had the opportunity to talk to any council member up here about any of these recommendations. I think, Chevelle, I think you have that, so we could put it up on the screen. Is that right?
I can display that. Just give me 1 second.
Okay, thank you. As she's doing that, as I reviewed the memo that came to us in the packet yesterday, I felt that there were some actions or direction that could be given from the council today, so that we could move some of these items forward quickly, that they didn't need to go back through the task force. And so I'm presenting those to you for your feedback. And then following that, I would talk about the Community Engagement Task Force and how that process will work going forward. I'll just start talking while you're putting that up. So on the first page is 4 items that I thought we could move quickly on. As Vice Mayor mentioned, support for adding an additional police officer for community youth engagement in this upcoming budget. We could do that as a direction and recommendation to the town manager to include that as they bring the budget forward. As we had mentioned in our retreat, approving all 3 phases of the Family Advocacy Center to be included in our upcoming CIP plan. There are a lot of the services and community education opportunities that will be handled through that. In regards to advancing or enhancing the relationship between school district reps and our council liaison, my recommendation is that a meeting is set up with school district reps and council liaisons to discuss potential expansion of liaison responsibilities that include regular meetings on timely topics, to include updates to the full town council during council meetings. So that's what we do at the end of every meeting. The town council gives a report out on any of our liaison assignments, and so this could be part of that. And that way we would be identifying actions that might be taken or issues that come up on a monthly basis. Using the 10-point program recommended by Councilmember Bongiovanni in our packet, explore opportunities to partner on consistent programming policies within our schools in the easy tip line, development and marketing aspects. And once that meeting has been held and any recommendations that come out of that, we would ask that the council liaisons would report back to our task force by September 24. And then bringing any of potential actions back to the council on September 24. So that would be just the first kind of report out, and if there's any action that we could be taking in September. I purposely put in dates and months just because I think the community is asking that we are showing progress on this, and then by putting these dates in there, it commits us to doing so. If we're interested in any ordinance that had to do with banning brass knuckles for juveniles or a parenting responsibility ordinance, we could give direction today to staff to do the research and bring back in June to a study session. And we would have an opportunity to look at those ordinances and see if at that point we wanted to make any decisions. So that's the first part of my, I guess I'll just call it a report at this point, that I feel that we could take action without that having to go through a task force.
And let me just clarify, Councilmember, if we take action tonight, it's direction to the staff, because these separate items aren't on an agenda to be voted on, so I would struggle with voting on each one individually without the public having an opportunity to speak on them too.
I
So
agree.
direction.
Yeah, that would be the action, is
I just
to
wanna be
give
clear.
direction. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
And I think, so should we just go one by one? Give staff direction to add the police officer for community youth engagement in the FY25 budget.
Yes.
I see 7 head nods. Direction to staff to do so. We have already, during our most recent retreat, asked that the staff prioritize all 3 phases of the Family Advocacy Center, so that's really already done.
Yes. And it's a great time to just acknowledge that for the
Acknowledge.
public. Yes.
That we have already clarified that with our staff, and hoping to see that part of the CIP plan, the next 5-year CIP plan. The next part, the set up a meeting with school district reps and council liaisons, that's a little bit more intensive. And how do you presume to do so, I guess is my question.
We already have council members serving
liaison.
as that liaison, and they already have that relationship. So I would say the 3 council members, along, I'll just say Patrick, because I'm not sure who on his staff, would reach out to the school districts and ask for representatives to meet with them.
The only concern I have is that means that Councilmember Kaprowski has 4 high schools and 5 junior highs, if I'm counting correctly in my head. So I know that, I think Councilmember Von Giovanni, you mentioned maybe splitting out the liaison responsibilities. Chandler Schools has 1 high school. Higley Schools has 2 high schools. I'm trying to make
Yeah,
sure that Councilmember Kaprowski doesn't get overwhelmed.
Yeah, I can definitely help Councilmember Kaprowski with Gilbert. I'm in contact with the superintendents quite regularly.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's the one that I'm most concerned with. She has a full-time job and kids, and
Yeah.
to add 4 more responsibilities to her.
I can more than help with, I'm contacted with them quite frequently.
Okay.
Okay, and I was assuming from my end that this would start with the district level, and then if they wanted to bring in their high schools or any of those people for that meeting. So I was thinking of it more as the 3 districts, not each school individually.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around all of this. We did just get it yesterday, and reading it and hearing your version of what we received. Trying to wrap my head around it. And make sure everybody's not overwhelmed.
Right.
There's a lot.
Yes.
And so I just want to make sure everybody's not overwhelmed.
Just to reiterate again, this is the key to this whole thing, is our relationship with the
With the
schools and
districts.
what we can develop with them. So we've got to have real intent to work on this item.
And Higley, too, is in transition at the moment with a new superintendent and all of that, so we need to keep that in mind also. And I do like that you added dates, so
Yes.
thank you for that. Yes.
Is that reasonable, do you feel?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do have an ad ed group that we meet. We were meeting twice a year, but it became too difficult with their schedules with springtime. Once everybody expanded and went to 2 weeks off in March, the shorter summer breaks, 2 weeks off in the fall, 2 weeks off at the Christmas holidays, it got hard to schedule those with everyone. And I do get participation from our districts, our charter schools, our local colleges. So we've had a good discussion, and we've talked about all kinds of topics, including like TikTok challenges that were out there that was affecting all of our schools the same way. So they are a great group to get together with.
Mayor?
Yes.
Does that group get together all of the school districts and charter schools at the same time?
It's whoever decides to participate, and so yes, all of the school districts are invited, the charter schools are invited, and I get a mix every single time.
And universities
I
as
think
well.
that, yeah, the universities, Chandler Gilbert Community College, ASU, Park University, we've had them participate.
And when are those held?
We were doing the spring and the fall, now we're just doing the fall, because we're having a hard time scheduling, and when also the spring testing schedule got to be an issue too for them.
I think that something like that sounds like a good first step, but I don't want to delay that meeting. And I am confident that even through the liaisons, but with the support of other council members, that we can meet with all the school districts to at least get the conversation continued and moving forward.
Good, okay, good. Since you have the largest district at the moment in Gilbert, yes. Next, the other community ordinances, is that the next one? And so are we going to ask staff to maybe reach out to the surrounding communities
Mayor,
and see what they're doing? Or-
I've already been speaking with Councilmember Stewart in Chandler. I've spoken with Chris. He is working with the city attorney of Chandler to look at their language when it's ready. But I know they're moving forward, I believe, in May. I would like to move this up to May so we can possibly have a vote before summer begins for the teenagers.
Okay.
If I'm understanding, you want to change that from June to May?
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, do you think you'll have enough time to work on something like that to bring it forward in May?
Yes, I wouldn't, just for clarification, is the thought to have a study session on this, first meeting in May?
I mean, we could have a study session. I don't, we've talked about this on the dais before. We passed a 7-0 vote on this to support Senator Kavanaugh's bill. I don't know if we need a study session, but if the majority of you feel that we do, then I'm okay with that.
We haven't seen the language, and so if we're going to go straight to a vote, I would like to get that language in time for us all to provide feedback to Chris so that we're not wordsmithing up here on the dais. My comments are pertaining to the brass knuckles ordinance, because we have talked about that. The parenting responsibility, we have not talked about that, and that would need to come to a study session. I'm not even sure what that entails, and so I would not feel comfortable going to the, a study session in May for the parenting, and then town council vote in May for the brass knuckles. Is that what you're recommending?
Yeah, that's what I'm recommending.
Okay. Mayor, is that what you understood?
Yes, that's what I understood. I think that it's important to discuss the, what that parenting responsibility looks like. And to me, there's a big difference between supporting something that's legislative that will affect everyone in the state versus what we're doing here directly in Gilbert. It's a big difference to me and what I would vote on here at the dais. And so that's why I have some reservations. It's good to talk about, and there's a difference between doing state legislation and local legislation.
Right.
Definitely.
And seeing the actual language is very important, and understanding if there's any unintended consequences in the way that we've written it. So I typically like a study session first, but I will go with the council either way on that one.
I think if we're going to do a study session for the parenting responsibility, we could just do it at the same time. We really have wrapped them both up together. So if there's a possibility to do a study session for the first meeting in May with these issues, and then bring it back for a vote later in May. And I know one of those meetings in May will be our preliminary budget night too, on the top of my head.
Yeah.
I don't even know what those dates are.
Mayor,
right now.
council, preliminary budget's the second council meeting in May.
In
So
May.
we could target the first meeting in
First
May.
meeting.
And I'll work with Kelly over at City of Chandler to try to coordinate, so we're putting forth similar ordinances.
Thank you. And I do know Chandler is working on items. I've been speaking to their mayor too.
Mayor,
They
council,
already have things in
clarify, the
place.
study session for the preliminary budget adoption is May 7th.
Okay.
So it would have to be maybe an earlier start time, potentially,
Work everything in.
to work everything in, yeah.
I'm fine with that. I think we have a lot of topics to cover, so. Perfect.
Yeah, I'd like to mention something. if I
Sure.
can.
Councilmember Buckley. Yes.
No, I just wanted to mention.
Make sure you're in your mic, please. Thank you.
Okay. I can't get much closer.
You can
I
pull
know.
it towards
You
you.
can just lean forward. I just want to make sure the record picks you up, that's all, Councilmember.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to mention, I know that Queen Creek recently approved an ordinance against brass knuckles. So that could be, maybe something we could start with for verbiage.
And I know Chandler's looking at something, and that's exactly what Chris will do. He'll check with the town attorney and city attorney for Queen Creek and Chandler and see what they have.
Yeah, okay, great.
Perfect.
Okay.
Councilmember, did you have more?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
So, thank you. So I think we've got direction on that first part. This next section is really transitioning over to the Community Engagement Task Force. And so I just wanted to put this out in the public so they understand what the task force is, just as a reminder. The Community Engagement Task Force is appointed by the Town Council and is a recommending body and does not have the authority to take action. Recommendations will be shared with the Town Council for potential actions on items within their purview. The Town Council has no authority over the various schools or nonprofits. Any recommendations coming forward that fall outside the authority of the Town Council will be shared with the appropriate entities with the intention to create meaningful relationships to accomplish the goals presented by the Community Engagement Task Force on Teen Violence. The current vision and mission is on the website. The Community Engagement Task Force will provide a forum where matters of social welfare and community concern may be presented, discussed, and collaborated upon to address concerns within the town of Gilbert. As the task force concludes the work on the original identified areas of focus, domestic violence, human and sex trafficking, mental health, suicide prevention, homelessness, low-income challenge, and ensuring Gilbert is a kind and welcoming, inclusive community. A final report will be presented to the Town Council in May 2024 for potential action on the work that they've been undertaking for 2 years. The Community Engagement Task Force was formed to allow additional topics to be assigned by the Town Council for further review as deemed appropriate. With the sudden rise in teen violence incidents within our community and after months of the Teen Violence Subcommittee meeting with the community, the Town Council, make an assumption here, adopted teen violence as the next focus area of the Community Engagement Task Force to undertake. So today, if we were interested in doing that, we would need to give direction, and we can approve it formally at the next meeting. However, we will not have to wait till the next meeting to start the application process. So I wanted to make sure you guys knew that. And I'm sorry, I always have my back to you, Councilman Torgerson. I've trusted you. That is true. That is true. The task force values in alignment with the mission and the vision have been developed and are listed on the website. So they've already been established, but I just wanted to put it out there because that won't be something that we're going to have to start over again with the new members. It's respect, honesty, transparency, communication, listening, and unifying. In order to put the request for applicants out, we really needed to further define the scope and the number of members that we want to serve and all of that. So I've highlighted several areas here, but the scope is the Community Engagement Task Force focusing on teen violence with an initial meeting in June 2024 after the application process has been concluded. So I think I missed a word in there, but I apologize, I did this fast. The task force will examine existing resources, including recent school survey results, Town of Gilbert programs, partnerships with schools and nonprofits, current websites, etc. Identify the gaps and prepare recommendations to the council in the areas of resources, education, and promotion. And those vary just a little bit from what you all presented, but those are the areas that the task force is now presenting information in. I think that it still covers the areas that you had put forward. The task force will provide a monthly update from either the council liaison or the chair to the council beginning September through November 2024, with a final report due December 2024. It takes a while to get this moving, and so I hope that that timeline is okay with you. We can shorten it, but it's up to you, whichever way you'd like to go. In addition, the number of voting task force members. So this looks a little odd, and I understand that, but because we're addressing teen violence and hearing the comments from the community and from the subcommittee members over the last few months, I thought it's important to have teens assigned and allow them to have voting rights. And so that's why it looks a little different, but in this case, we would have 9 adult task force members, so they are voting, and 2 adult alternates, because that helps if some life happens to somebody and they have to drop off. That would include our current community engagement task force members. They've agreed to look at the scope, and we've offered that they could remain on should they choose. They'll let us know by Friday, I believe, if they want to stay on. And then we could post this on Monday and start that process. So the applicants must be Gilbert residents with experience in the area of teen behavioral or similar programs. 2 teens, no more than 1 from each school district or charter school. And then a quorum will be based on the majority of the members, the voting members, so that's typical. In addition, again, I'm trying to pull it from the information that's been shared with us over the time. I think it would be good to have advisory members part of the conversations for all the months. And so that they're there, even though they're not voting, they're helping us and advising us making decisions. So this would be Gilbert, Higley, Chandler school districts, charter schools, you have ALA, Santan, and I know there's more, but I apologize. I was doing this fast and I didn't look up everybody. And then a representative from the police department. So with that, I'll stop and we can take any comments.
So my first suggestion was going to be the teens, because I had suggested it when we started Community Engagement Task Force 2 years ago. So I'm glad to see that on there, and I would love to put this out to our MIAC students once we know, once we open it up to applicants. Any other comments? Councilmember Kaprowski?
My only comment is related to the teens, where it currently says no more than 1 from each school district or charter school. But as Mayor had pointed out earlier, the Gilbert Public School District represents a greater majority of our community. And so I would either identify that one of those teens be from Gilbert Public Schools, or that we somehow just change the language that maybe it's no more than 1 from each public high school or charter school.
Be careful how we say public, high school, and charter school, because charter schools are public too. District and charter schools. But I would say, I'm fine with the wording, and because of the fact that we don't know who will apply. So if we just leave it open and wait and see who applies and how the ranking goes and how the interviews go, it still leaves us leeway to choose.
I just wouldn't want to be restricted if we had the two best candidates from Gilbert Public Schools and then have to not pick one because of our own restriction.
And one of the reasons I only have 2 listed is because we get into the quorum problem. And my concern is if you have more teens and they are involved in sports or choir or theater or any of those things on those nights that they have to be there, they would miss, and we could lose a quorum. And that's my only concern about adding more, but we could look at that.
What would your thoughts be for if the teen representatives would be nominated by their school district or charter school? And having more.
Having more. Again, the only concern I have is quorum. And what happens in these meetings, which I know it's hard for people to understand if they're not part of this, is that if we don't have a quorum, we don't get to have a meeting. We can't even just do the informational stuff. And so that creates the problem. And we've had that a couple times with our community engagement task force where we've had to skip a month because the quorum, for whatever reason, wasn't there.
I think Councilmember Bongiovanni had his mic on next.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Our last subcommittee meeting, when we had the MIAC students there, they were amazing. And not just them, but I think we need to have the teen voice. I would actually like to see 7 adults and 4 teens, so we can deal directly with the kids themselves.
Vice Mayor had his mic on next, and then we'll talk about that.
The only thing I'd say is remember that we talked about expanding the relationship with the school district and the town through our liaisons. And my suggestion was that if we want to make that group bigger with more student representation, that wouldn't necessarily have to be on the task force, but they could certainly work in the liaison, with the liaison and whoever else is working with that school district. And the only other thing that I'm not necessarily concerned with, I don't know if everybody's comfortable with the time frame, but expediency is chief right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need to do.
We should be able to have the committee or the task force seated June. And then we're off in July.
It's summer, right?
Yeah, so that's the only reason I moved that a little bit, but we can shorten that. It's at, whatever you desire, we'll make happen.
I think even if you try to schedule a July meeting, you'll lose too many people and not have a quorum, just because it's summer break, people are on vacation, even the adults are on vacation. And so that and we take the month off, obviously. Well, as council meetings, I should say. I would love increasing the amount of teens, like Councilmember Bongiovanni said, and there's even a possibility of doing a liaison from the current MIAC class, and they wouldn't have to be a voting member, but maybe come in as a liaison, because they are amazing students. We had a great conversation last Tuesday night about this very topic. I had 32 kids from 14 schools, district, charter, private, you name it, and we had an amazing conversation about this topic, and I would love to share some of that with you, but I think to move this forward, we have to decide how many people total would you like to see on the task force, and if you're saying you would like, what did you say, 7 adults and 4 students, 4 teens, so that would be 11, and I always want to do an odd number.
Right.
Are you comfortable with that plus 2 alternates, or are you talking 11?
Two adult alternates, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Councilmember Krasinski?
I'm just wondering, do we need to specify the number of adults versus teens and just keep it more general?
So let them all apply and see how it washes out?
And that'd be up to the council as we do our review process.
We'll still be making the choice as to who's appointed to the task force. You wouldn't have to define it, but we would still make that decision when we know what the final number's going to be. Well, I mean, once we have the final number and who the applicants are.
Again, I said, I'll go with it however you guys want to go. I just wanted to provide some guidance, and I just like us clarifying that we do want teens on this committee. And so I'm not quite sure how to do that. I mean, we could say 11 adults, 11 plus 2
Total.
alternates, which includes teens, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that
We could
clear?
you could even say no less than 2 teens, but we could always choose more should we interview them and choose. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah, I like that better. actually.
Mayor
that
Peterson,
better?
if I could just jump in
Yeah.
real quick. Sorry, just want to clarify that there's been discussion about kids from public schools and charter schools, but private schools as well. You had mentioned private schools. Want to make sure, do you want to include that
In the language.
Gilbert Christian, for example?
Yep.
That, any school basically in Gilbert, kids could be eligible to participate.
Just like we open it up for MIAC, it's any schools in Gilbert. They can be homeschooled, they can be private schools, charter schools, district schools. Gilbert Christian would be the private school on your list there. But would you be more comfortable with that? 11 members, 2 adults, 2 alternates with no less than 2 teens.
I'd like to see no less than 4 teens.
No less than 4 teens? We always get to decide that, though. We get to decide it as we're doing the interviews on how many we appoint. So if we say no less than 2, we can always choose 4. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we could also choose 3 or 2. So I'd
So
rather
you
see
want no less than 4?
No less than 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's Melanie? Is she
It's a
still here?
9, it's a 9-member task force, isn't it?
It is, but I think we have 7. Dawn, do you know? How many are on the?
And we
I
don't
have
know
it
how many
somewhere.
are going to remain because Councilmember Tilkey just said they have till Friday to let us know.
Right.
It could be 5 remain out of whatever
Right.
is out there. It could be 3 remain, and then we'd be appointing those seats too.
Yeah.
Trying to keep track of all the pieces. Yes, Don. One of those buttons works, Don. There we go.
Mayor, Councilmember Tilkey, we have 7 members right now and 4 vacancies.
4 vacancies.
I don't know if all of them are going to want to remain. They've given 2 years of their lives and on very heavy and deep topics. So
Yes.
they may be ready to move on, but we wanted to give them at least a couple days to look at the scope and make that determination.
Okay, so we have I was going to say we have a bet on the table. We have an offer of 11 members, 2 alternates with no less than 4 teens. Do I have a counter offer?
Thank you, Mayor.
Trying to keep it,
I hear you. So my mind is gone with numbers right now. So if every member stays on, which you don't think will, but if every member stays on, how many new members will there be?
decide tonight as to how many we'll choose. So if you have
Right.
3 that decide to stay.
Right.
And we're going to have 11, then we would be looking to fill those.
So we'd add 5? No.
Depends on how many teens you do, too.
That's what I say. And then of those, it would be teens.
I hate math. Trying to keep it organized, but.
So it's 4 openings right now, 4 openings. If everybody stayed, and we'd have 2 alternates, right?
I mean, I don't know the people that are on it currently, right? So, but I also know of the instrumental people that have been involved in this for months. And I would hate to see only 4 members being chosen if the 3, maybe my math is off.
Yep.
Okay. If everyone stays on, that's on it currently, we're only open up for 4 more. Does that include the teens too?
Well, if you say no less than 4, then they'll all be teens.
But that would take us to 7, what the current CETF is set for. We're talking about expanding.
Okay.
The
So
amount
what
of
is
the task force.
Okay, so Pretend I'm in second grade here.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Melanie's going to
It's
get
not
us
that much
straight.
of a reach. but-
Melanie, help us. Turn your mic on, please. Thank you.
Mayor, council members, just for clarification, currently we have 2 regular seats open and 2 alternate seats available.
Okay.
So just to make sure that you're aware, if everyone was to stay, you have 2 regular and 2 alternate seats that are currently available.
So no matter what we decide right now, Melanie, we have 2 alternate seats to fill, no matter what. So that's kind of settled.
You have 2 alternates and 2 regular seats to fill currently.
No matter what.
No.
No, but we're changing the number, though, so that's where we are today.
Right.
That's where we are today. What we're making the decision on is 11 members with 2 alternates. That's 13 people.
Yep.
No less than 4 of those teens is what's on the table. So
Again, how many, if the current people stay?
You're
and we
gonna
go to ele-
have-
And we go to 11,
you would have 5.
5 open seats.
Well, 13, because you have 2 alternates. You would be seating 5 new people.
Plus the 4 teens?
Plus the 14s?
No. Nope. You have to decide on the total number that you have.
Okay, so I'd say we raise it to 13.
No, 13 plus 2 alternates, 15?
I'm going to say
That's a-
13's the number you're going to have to go to accommodate this.
We need to do odd numbers no matter what we do.
Is another option to, because we're providing direction for the task force to focus on a new subject matter, that we reconsider the entire slate of members that sit on it based on the subject matter.
So you're part of a task force that does not have an expiration date. However, Patrick, did you need to say something before I go on?
Mayor, Councilmember Tipka, yes, I was just going to suggest the same thing, that you do have the ability to reconstitute the entire body. They serve at the pleasure of the mayor and council, and so that is an option available to you.
And we would welcome the applications of those previous members to be reconsidered amongst the greater pool.
I think, I'm not disagreeing, so just know that, if that's what you'd like to do. I think you have to take some kind of action to end their term on the task force. And I'm looking at Chevelle because we may have to make that formal action later, even though we're moving forward and we can notify them. But can you help me with that?
I consulted with the expert.
Thanks, Judy.
She indicated that she believes because no term was indicated, that we don't have to formalize the conclusion of them. Once, we can say once their final report out, that's the end of that scope of work for them at that time.
Okay. We need to notify them in a polite way. I don't like, I'm not disagreeing, yes, let's move forward, let's have them apply, but they have given 2 years of their lives on this, and I don't want them to feel like we've just said, kicked them to the curb. So I'm just going to be sensitive to make sure they understand that at the end of the May report out, that we'll thank them for their contributions, and in the meantime, we'll allow them to reapply should they like to continue on under the teen violence. Is that okay?
Yeah, with that setup, I'm good back at 11 plus the 2. Did I do my math right? Yeah. 11 new positions.
2 alternates and no less than 4 teens.
Yeah.
Have the members of the task force already been asked if they would like to remain?
We spoke with them because we didn't know what direction this was going to be going. And from the first meeting we had on this, when we were talking about our next steps, we asked if they would be willing to take on a new topic, should the council ask that. And they said, yes, they'd be willing to. In the meantime, as this has moved forward, we talked to them about the ability to stay on, should they choose. There wasn't any formal action or anything like that. It was just an understanding that since they had agreed to, yes, we'll take it on, if they chose to stay, we would allow them to. That's why I want to be sensitive to the way that we communicate with them, because they've done a lot of hard work, and I don't want them to think that we're not grateful for that. But understanding that this is a new topic and a different skill set that we're looking for, that if, should they be willing to reapply, that we would consider them.
I have the most problems with that. If they've already been asked if they would like to stay, I have trouble without now just disbanding them.
So I think that I'll just take that one on my shoulders, and I'll make the call.
As their liaison.
Yeah, as liaison. That again, we didn't know what direction the council was wanting to take, and so we wanted to try to prepare to provide you with an option should you have it, and so I'll deal with it.
Okay. Volunteers are my heart and soul,
I
and
know.
that hurts me. Okay. 11 members, 2 alternates, no less than 4 teens. The one thing that we need to define is teen. Are you talking a high school student? Do you want an age set for the teen? Because I think that will be important and a question that will be asked of us.
I'd say high school student.
A high school student. That could be 14 to 18, probably.
I would.
Typically.
Yeah, I'd like to say high school student throughout that whole process. Follow me?
Because for MIAC, we do
They need to be,
14
yeah.
to, we do freshmen through seniors for MIAC. It didn't always used to be that way. Sometimes it was juniors and seniors. I've chosen to go with freshmen through seniors.
Mayor Peterson, just to jump on that, can we clarify?
please.
High school, obviously they have to be residents, they have to live in the town of Gilbert. Do they have to go to school within the town of Big Gilbert? Because a lot of kids go to school
Bash a high school or,
where, yeah, other districts, other charter schools outside of our corporate limits.
so not only a Gilbert resident, but attend school within the Gilbert boundaries also. Because
If you so
Chris is right.
choose.
Right.
The code says you'd have to be a Gilbert resident to be on a commission, and the council can further restrict that to actually go to school in Gilbert.
Yeah.
Couldn't we also, my numbers are right, have one from each school district and then one representing private or charter? Then that person could actually be the person that the liaisons work with in the schools if we go forward with something like that.
I think we don't want to restrict ourselves at that level in writing, but we can keep that in mind as we have our discussion for forming the board. I would suggest that we identify it as a student that it is a freshman, sophomore, or junior for the 23-24 school year, so that for the 24-25 school year, they'll still be in
High school. You don't want a senior right now because they'll be graduating in May.
And you probably don't want a incoming freshman that may not.
And I agree with Councilmember Kaprowski. I think if you restrict it too much, I think we can do that as we're choosing the members to put onto the task force, since we do the rankings and the interviews anyway.
Okay, would we, I know we've done differently, okay? When we assign this, these people, is it just the sole decision of the liaison? Nothing against you, council member. I'm just saying, is it, we have, in the past, we've had recommendations, but it's always been the council member who's liaison who makes final choices.
It's like every other board or commission technically, so we would have to discuss whether or not that would be the case. If you're saying when we do our deliberation
Yes.
on the members
Yeah.
and who has final say on that.
Correct.
I think it'll be a discussion of the 7 of us in an executive session.
Yeah, it's similar as before. I think when the council liaison had the final say, it had to do with with 2 candidates that were equal. And the council said, both of them are great, you get to decide. That's the only time the liaison does that. Yeah. Now, the timeline that I have set forward is your final report would be December 2024. So
Could I
if,
say something before we get to timelines again?
Sorry, Councilmember Buckley, you turned your mic on, yes. You did, sorry, yes.
Yeah, I thought I did. and
You
I'm
did.
going, okay.
Sorry.
well, no, I have a question. We're only going to have 4 teens out of all the high schools. How are you going to select which high school those 4 teens are going to come from?
It'll be based on who applies, because randomly people will apply for these positions, just like we do with our boards and commissions. We can't control who applies or what schools they go to, but then as we choose them, we can make sure that we're mixing it up a bit so that there's a variety.
So every high school is going to get invited to apply.
We will put out a request for people to apply, like we typically do, which would be social media, and we can send it out to as many schools as we have contact. I'm looking at Kirsten, and she's nodding her head. We have contacts at a lot of the schools, so we will put it out to as many schools as we have contacts for, to have them share it. We can't guarantee they will share it with their
Right.
student body, but we can put it out to them.
Right. I just would like to make sure that if there is a high school that maybe has had more violence than others, that they have the opportunity to be here over maybe one that is, a lot more quiet.
And we will do our best to make sure we get that information out for them to apply.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
And like I said, the current MIAC group is 32 students from 14 different schools. That's a big variety for those kids. So we get a lot of applicants, so I'm hoping we'll get applicants like that from different schools.
Well, hopefully. I personally wouldn't mind seeing at least 6 in there, because it gives us we're a community of almost 300,000 people, and I just want them all to have, if they want to do something like this and they want to be on here, that they, more than 4 people, but it's a start. So I think if we get a lot of applications and we get, some backlash that more people want to be on there, then we can hopefully reconsider that.
Well, and I will point out that we're saying no less than 4 teens, so it will be up to this group
Right,
when we
we
do
did see that.
interviews and make the decisions.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
Mayor, can you explain to me the alternative situation? How does that work?
So the alternates typically come to the meetings and don't vote, but they can be part of the conversation at the task force meetings. And then if somebody isn't going to be there for a regular meeting, they get to sit and vote at that meeting.
Okay, so with that said, and high school sports and that kind of stuff, can we throw 2 alternatives on the teen side?
2, besides, if you want to do 2 adult alternates and 2 teen alternates, we're getting bigger.
I know.
Okay.
The bigger the better, I would think. But yeah, that's, or at least 1.
We could do 2 adult alternates and 1 teen alternate.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah, it works for me.
yeah, and that
That
doesn't
leaves us
impact
at
our
5.
quorum.
Yeah, yeah.
And Mayor, before you move to timeline, I just want to clarify something I said. Chevelle reminded me, the town code says for boards, commissions, and committees, those members have to be residents. But for task force, they don't have to be. You can require it for this task force, you have the ability to, but you don't need to. Just want to clarify that.
And back to what Chris said a few minutes ago, I don't know that we decided. What he asked is, we're talking, they have to be a Gilbert resident, which Chris just clarified. Do you want to make sure that they attend a Gilbert school? A school within the Gilbert boundaries?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, just to make sure we get that covered. Thank you. Timelines, Councilmember.
The only reason I went back to it was we were talking about when they serve or when they are going to school. The timeline here is a final report in December 2024. So I don't know who's graduating before December. So I don't know if we have to clarify that they're going to be a high school student the entire time, but
Yeah, that would be the intent of freshman, sophomore, junior for the 23-24 school year. That means that they would be a senior throughout this fall and next spring. So you wouldn't have any issues with any that are graduating this year.
Thank you. Sorry. I'm forgetting we're going into a new school year, so I was thinking of our fiscal year. So,
Wait,
okay, got it.
Do we commonly have high school students that graduate early in December? Okay, just checking. I know with college it's common. I don't know about high school. My daughter's been out of high school for a long time. Just wanted to ask. So timelines, did we need anything else to clarify on timelines? We good? Councilmember Tilkey, can you wrap a bow on that?
I hope so. Let's see. We've given direction on the first 4 items to staff, and so we'll be hearing back from those, which includes the ordinance study session and the first meeting in May. The scope of the work for the task force has been, I guess, agreed upon with the initial meeting in June, and monthly reports back to the council beginning in September through November, with a final report due December 2024. 11 members, which includes no less than 4 teens that are going to be a high school student during this time period. 2 adult alternates, and 1 teen alternate.
And just to clarify, they all have to, the teens must go to school in a school that is within the Gilbert boundaries and
Yes.
must be freshman, sophomore, or junior this current year, 23-24.
Yes, thank you. On the advisory members, I don't think we really discussed it any further, but I didn't know if there was any additions.
There is one addition of Gilbert Christian
Gilbert Christian.
as a private school.
Oh, yes, you have charter schools, ALA and Santan, and then for a private school, we have Gilbert Christian. There's a couple Gilbert Christian campuses in Gilbert.
Police department,
By
and then
police department, do you mean the SROs?
I left that open because I thought the chief could assign somebody. I'm not sure who the best person is, because it could be somebody over SROs. So that's why I left that open. And then you had a representative from MIAC as a advisory.
A potential liaison if we don't get MIAC students to apply, maybe, but MIAC will be done in May for this year, and then we'll be advertising for more MIAC students in probably May, June, to sign them up for the next school year.
I like having that liaison only because they can take back the information to your monthly meetings, and those students represent schools throughout the whole community, and perhaps they can share some of that back as well.
And we've started a new part of MIAC, which is to allow students to apply for a second year. So they actually get to go through the program for a second time and serve as mentors to this year, to the new students that are coming into MIAC. That's been part of the MIAC program for the past 2 years with Kirsten. So maybe we'll get somebody that would reapply that would be a great liaison, because they've just gone through the program and they're going to do the program again. So we can put that down as a possibility in MIAC, liaison. I like the idea.
Okay, so I think, as we mentioned today, we give direction to staff based on the overall, what we finalized here as consensus, so that we can begin the recruitment for the application process. Just so the public knows, that usually takes 2 weeks we'll send it out by Monday, and 2 weeks to apply. And at that point, the council needs to review all of the resumes, the application, and the videos that are part of that process and rank all of those applicants. That goes back to the town clerk's office, who then publishes the rankings. So typically, just so you know, we interview double the number of people who that are going to serve. So if we have 14, we'll be interviewing 28 people. Also, just so the public knows, that we do our rankings individually, and they go to the town clerk's office. We do not know who made the top 28 until it is posted on the agenda. So just so you know, I just want you to understand that process. So there's nothing, none of us know any of that until that time. So anyway, I think we've got direction. I'm going to look at Chevelle, make sure that we covered everything for you.
Yes, Councilmember Tilkey, we will get that on the next agenda for formal approval, but we can start the recruitment whenever you're ready.
Thank you. And I will follow up with our current task force.
And council, it might mean an off night for interviews potentially, because we have a lot of executive sessions and study sessions coming up for other things and some interviews for other boards and commissions. So we might need to try and schedule a Wednesday night or a Thursday night if people are amenable to that.
Yeah.
Looking at other schedules.
Why they pay us the big bucks.
That's right, exactly, council member, exactly. Okay, I think everybody has direction on how to move forward with that one. Judy, you're gonna have your hands full. Wait, has Ashley taken over boards? Okay. Thank you, I appreciate it. That was a lot of work, everyone, thank you very much. We will move on, I have to go backwards on my agenda now, okay. Back to administrative items, council administration, a presentation of the annual audited financial reports for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2023. And B, consider adoption of resolution number 4460, confirming compliance with Arizona revised statutes in accordance with ARS 9-481. Does anybody need to take a break? Councilmember Tilkey, you haven't asked. Okay. Sorry, Hawken. I appreciate you coming right up to the podium, but we're going to take a recess for about 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, we're back. Thank you, everybody. Hawken, thank you. I apologize. I know we have our auditor online. We will move to the item that I already introduced before the recess. Hawken, please.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Once a year, we get to highlight the tremendous work that our accounting team does, led by our Financial Services Officer, Tanya Wright. Overviewing the audit, once again, fantastic news that she'll be able to share, but the team just does a fantastic job of sorting through every single transaction that goes through this town, which is significant. And so it's late, so without further ado, I will pass it on to Tanya and go from there. A brief presentation.
It's only 60 slides. We're good. Mayor, members of council, thank you for having me here tonight, along with Jim Rebinar, who is our audit partner from Heinfeld and Meach. He's joining us virtually. So we're here to present to you our annual comprehensive financial report, or what we refer to as the ACFR, for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2023. I'm going to start by going over some just general information about the accounting division, and then Jim will give you the results of the audit. So quickly, some of the roles that we provide to the organization is we record transactions, like Hawkins stated, all of the inflows and outflows that come through this organization. There are quite a few. From that, we report out on those. The biggest report that we prepare is the ACFR. Takes quite a bit of time to compile. And we also prepare reports for various boards and commissions, such as the quarterly financial reports for the Self-Insurance Trust Board, the Veterans Advisory Board, the annual meetings for the MPC boards, and then various other financial statements. We ensure that we have a strong internal control framework to prevent fraud and ensure compliance with laws and regulations. We provide services to keep the town running, such as paying our vendors and, of course, paying our employees, which is extremely important to keep things going. And we do this with high ethics. What is the importance of an ACFR? The biggest thing that it does is that it provides accountability. It shows our taxpayers what we're spending their money on. It provides full transparency to our public. It also is kind of a report card on management, on how the public funds are being managed, and as well as elected officials on how they're managing public finances. And then lastly, to investors in our bonds in the municipal market and in the secondary municipal market, it provides a snapshot of Gilbert's financial stability at a point in time to help them make decisions on whether to invest in our bonds. And also, one other thing is with credit rating agencies, they use our ACFR to determine how to rate our bonds, amongst other things. So there's a lot of components of the ACFR, which is why it's called comprehensive. So there's the basic financial statements, which is the minimum requirement by state law, but we go far above and beyond that to include all of these different things, and I won't speak to all of them, but the management discussion and analysis is something good to keep by your bedside to read at night if you want to fall asleep. It provides a written overview, high-level overview of what is in the financial statements and what that means in English, not accounting speak. We also have the notes to our financial statements, which talks about specific line items that are noteworthy, such as the debt we have, our pension system information, intergovernmental receivables that we have, et cetera. And then lastly, we have a statistical section, which is interesting. I think it's a 10-year look at various things from financial in nature to operational in nature, such as how many fire trucks we had 10 years ago versus now. So that's also something a little bit interesting. And I'm proud to announce that for the 32nd year in a row, we have received the Government Finance Officers Association Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2022, and we expect to receive this award again for our fiscal year 23 ACFR. And this really speaks to the quality of work of the accounting division that Hawken was speaking to. Our staff are just tremendous. They're dedicated. They are dedicated to quality work and ensuring transparent information. And also, we have 4 CPA on staff, which is not a usual thing for a municipality. So I'm very proud of that, of our division. And I especially want to thank, everybody in the accounting division for compiling this report, but especially want to thank Anthony St. George, our accounting manager. He manages the day-to-day operations. Emily Harmon, who's our accounting supervisor, and Matthew Masters, who's our senior accountant. So if you don't have any questions, I will hand it over to our audit partner.
Hello, thank you, Mayor, members of the council, for having me tonight to present the town's fiscal year 2023 audit. I think Tanya did a great job of summarizing the ACFR, so I'll be brief, but to start, I did want to congratulate her and her team on receiving a clean audit opinion and being awarded the Certificate of Achievement by GFOA. As a reminder, our audit is performed under generally accepted audit standards and government auditing standards. And at the conclusion of the audit, we issue our auditor's report on the financial statements, which again included an unmodified opinion for this year. In addition to that, the town is required to undergo a uniform guidance audit due to the amount of federal funding it receives. And during that portion of the audit, we review compliance with requirements over federal programs and issue our results in the single audit report. In that single audit report, we did disclose one instance of non-compliance, which was noted on a reporting requirement, which is triggered by the town making subawards, such as to local nonprofit organizations. Now, it doesn't mean that this was an unallowable use of the funds, but just that it was not reported back as required. But other than that, we noted no other findings or deficiencies in internal control over financial reporting or federal compliance. I wanted to mention that throughout the audit, management and staff were very cooperative, and we were provided access to all information and records that were requested. We had no disagreements with management over the application of accounting principles or the reporting of audit matters. And finally, I wanted to direct the council to our governance communication letter, which you will receive a copy of. This has additional information related to the audit, such as our firm's compliance with ethical requirements and our independence to the town. So please be sure to read through that at your convenience. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions the council may have.
Jim, I just want to say thank you for your time this evening. We appreciate you hanging on with us. I know it wasn't easy. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Well, yes, Councilmember
Just
Torgerson.
one, how can, the one thing that was an outlier, how can we eliminate that for the next fiscal year?
Jim, did you hear that question?
Sorry, one more time, can you repeat that?
The one thing that was an outlier about the nonprofits, how do we eliminate that for next year? How do we make sure we comply with that?
Right. I think it was just a requirement that wasn't aware of. With a lot of the influx of COVID funding that came in, there were some new reporting requirements that came with that. So prior to that, it's probably a report that had never been submitted before. But now that they're aware of it, I'm sure they'll make sure they file the reports required going forward. Tanya can speak to that too.
Mayor, Councilmember Torgerson, we have completed a corrective action plan and have already filed the reports that we needed to file and will continue to do so going forward.
Now that we know they're required. So yes, thank you. Thank you very much, team. Great job, 32 consecutive years, and that's amazing work. Everything that you do every single day, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, you too. Moving on to policy items. Oh, sorry. Thank you for reminding me. I'm trying to move on. We have to adopt a resolution, consider adoption of resolution number 4460, confirming compliance with Arizona revised statutes. Is anyone interested in making a motion?
I'll move to approve adoption of resolution number 4460, confirming compliance with ARS.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Councilmember Bobrowski, seconded by Councilmember Buckley. Please vote. Motion passes 7-0. Now I can move on to policy items.
Mayor Peterson, can I confirm, was that second Councilmember Bongiovanni?
It was Councilmember Buckley.
Buckley, okay. Thank
Sorry.
you.
Yes.
Use your mic, Bob.
Thank you. She beat you
Use your mic.
by a second. Next, we'll move on to policy items. One policy item to be discussed and action, policy number 2023-003, consider approval of revisions to the council policy of the Code of Conduct, rescinding and repealing policy number 2023-02, Ethics Handbook. Council, would you like to discuss this item? Anyone have any comments, questions? Chris, I don't know that you need a presentation. I know that you provided us a few changes that we have here in a hard copy on the dais this evening. Small, minor changes, I should say. Any comments, discussion? Nothing? Would somebody like to make a motion one way or another?
I'll move to accept policy item 28, or as policy number 2023-03.
Okay.
I'll second, Mayor.
I have a motion by Councilmember Torgerson, seconded by Councilmember Tilke. Please vote. Motion passes 6-1 with myself as the no vote. Moving on to future meetings, we are going to have a lot of them. That's all I'm going to say, because we have exec sessions, study sessions, and regular council meetings coming up. And of course, it's budget season, so we will have extra meetings for that too. Anything anyone needs to add for future meetings? Thank you. Communications, report from the town manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Clerk's office, bring up some slides.
I love that he's doing slides.
Okay, we want to advance to the first slide. On March 28th, the Town of Gilbert's Municipal Center Renovation Project won the Award of Merit for the International Design Association Southwest Awards under the Public Facility category. So congratulations to everybody involved with that effort. Next slide. You're all probably aware that April is Autism Awareness Month. We have a couple things I wanted to share with you. First, on April 13th, the Gilbert Police Department and Gilbert Fire and Rescue hosted our first Safety Awareness Family event, SAFE, at the Public Safety Day at the Gilbert Public Safety Training Facility. The event was designed to provide a welcoming environment for our special needs community members to connect with our firefighters and police officers. Activities included opportunities to ride in a fire truck, experience a simulated police traffic stop, and getting an up-close look at police and fire gear. With the assistance of multiple community partners, we had a successful event. We had over 800 register to attend and nearly 400 in attendance. Fire provided nearly 300 ride-alongs in their fire trucks. And it was a very beneficial event for our community and our public safety personnel, and we received a tremendous amount of positive feedback from those attended. Next, our Parks Department, that is also an autism certified department, has implemented something new, sensory bags at our recreation centers. They're helpful resources intended to aid participants and patrons of all ages on the autism spectrum who may be experiencing sensory overstimulation due to noise, lighting, touch, etc. Each bag contains tools that may help youth and adults regulate emotions, self-soothe, and feel more secure in different and new environments, such as a weighted blanket, noise-canceling headphones, communication cards, UV blocking sunglasses, texture tiles, and fidget toys. And I just greatly appreciate the work by our entire organization in this space as we continue to find opportunities to include all members of our community in our programs and better understand how we can serve them. With that, thank you.
Thanks, Patrick. Congratulations to everyone on the award for the remodel of Town Hall. I'm sure that Mary Goodman is thrilled with that. She worked very hard on this facility. I know many other people did too, but she really poured her heart and soul into this building. So congratulations on that. Next, we have report from the council. Councilmember Bongiovanni.
Okay, from our Parks and Rec Department, we have our Earth and Arbor Day celebration. Join us for our annual Earth and Arbor Day celebration on Thursday, April 18th at the McQueen Park Activity Center from 10 a.m. to noon. Learn valuable resources to create a happier, healthier, sustainable place to live. Free family-friendly activities include crafts and games, recycled DIY ideas, a live animal display, and tree planting ceremony. Next is our Badges and Bobbers. Join us for a free community fishing event featuring first responders from Gilbert's Fire, Police, and Park Ranger teams as they partner with Arizona Game and Fish for a morning of fishing fun. Learn proper casting and reeling techniques from the pros in a safe, friendly environment on April 20th from 9 a.m. to noon at Gilbert Regional Park. Fishing poles and tackle will be available to check out for those not bringing their own equipment. Register online today.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaprowski.
Just want to remind the community of some upcoming events. On Saturday, May the 4th at 3 p.m. is the next Gilbert Symphony Orchestra concert. It'll be held at Campo Verde High School Auditorium, and the theme is surrounded around the Olympics, which are set in Paris. Also, there's an upcoming community bike ride on May 18th. Registration for that will open in a couple weeks.
Anyone else? Oh, Councilmember Buckley, turn your mic on, please. Turn your mic on, please. Thank you.
It's late. Okay, so Town of Gilbert and Discover Gilbert were a proud sponsor of the LPGA Ford Championship presented by KCC, held at Seville Golf and Country Club, March 27th to the 31st. I actually was there, and that they did a really fantastic job. Everything was totally perfect. The event was a success in every area, with attendance topping 17,000 people over the 5 days of the event. A big thank you to LPGA, Seville Golf and Country Club, and all the members of Team Gilbert. We had oh my gosh, I'm looking for the word, volunteers everywhere out there. And I'm sure they had as much fun as everybody else had as well. And anyway, all the members of Team Gilbert that helped Gilbert shine during this international event. In addition to playing host, the event allowed the town to promote Gilbert to visitors at the event and to Golf Channel viewers during all 4 days of the live broadcast. A full economic impact analysis of the event is currently underway. So this was really a very big deal, and I want to say thank you to the organizers and Dan and his team that put this together, because I live in that community, and I did not see one car parked on any residential street. They had the parking was at the Gilbert Regional Park. And yeah, so I was a little bit myself worried about that. Well, you know, the streets are, some of the streets are smaller. And I did not see one person that was attending there to have a car parked in the neighborhood. So I know all the residents out there really appreciated that as well.
Thank you, Councilmember. Anyone else? Comments from the mayor. I wanted to mention that this morning, several of us attended the East Valley Mayor's Prayer Breakfast that was held at up at Talking Stick Golf Course, which I had never been to. Beautiful setting. We sat outside at 6:30 this morning, gentlemen. And it was hosted by the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community. It is the first time that this event has ever been held on tribal land. So it was a very big deal to be up there and to be part of that event. They had some amazing demonstrations from their people, and the food was great, and the company was great, and some of us received I guess everybody that attended received one of these shell necklaces, and I loved the story that he shared, so I was going to share it. President Javier said that it seems unusual for a tribe in the desert to be giving out shells, but he said that their tribe used to make pilgrimages to the ocean to collect salt, and a lot of them would pick up shells to bring back, and then they would give them as gifts, and that's why they offered them as gifts to us today, and that the necklace should protect us. And I said I would wear mine all day, and I have mine on. Councilmember Bongiovanni has his on too, and that was lovely. And President Javier shared some very heart-wrenching personal stories from his life and family, and that was just it was nice to be part of that and to all be together this morning in prayer. And I think it's so important to do so in the time that we're living in. And then moving on, I went to the Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport Authority board meeting, and then we moved on to a groundbreaking for Zynergy, a Montreal-based company that manufactures climate systems for data centers, and we all know we see more and more data centers all the time. They broke ground on their first phase of their U.S. headquarters in East Mesa, and that's important to the town of Gilbert as partners of Phoenix Mesa Gateway, because it is all located at Gateway East, which is an emerging development at Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport, and the company is expected to invest $300 million into that project, and at full build-out will be a 1 million square foot production facility across 4 buildings that could eventually employ up to 2,000 employees that we know will be many Gilbert residents out there at that facility. So congratulations to Zynergy and welcome to the East Valley, and it's great to have their first U.S. headquarters here in the East Valley and part of Phoenix Mesa Gateway. And that's all I have, so I will, and I don't know if this is formal yet, but I'll take a motion to adjourn. So moved by Councilmember Buckley, second. Councilmember Torgerson, all in favor? Aye. Thank you and good night.